From the Aishin Broadcast Studio, it's AMN Drive Time, brought to you by Aishin.
AMN Drive Time is sponsored by Aishin, your trusted and reliable source for aftermarket automotive components and technology. Visit AishinAftermarket.com for more information.
Mike, welcome to AMN Drive Time, sponsored by our good friends at Edelman.
Thank you. Glad to be here. I'd like to thank you and your entire Babcock media team for all your support of the aftermarket industry. We really appreciate all you guys do. And, personally, I've enjoyed your publications like Counterman, Brake and Front End, Import Car, and Tire Review forever. And I really appreciate all the stuff you guys do for us. And now AMN with the daily news helps keep me updated. I love that. Thank you.
Well, thank you for saying so. And I know, Mike, we've known each other a long time. For the benefit of secrecy, we're not going to tell anybody how long we've been in this business, okay?
Well, I could tell you when I came there, Kathleen Schmatz was the editor, I believe. So
okay, well, that puts it in perspective. So, yeah. Mike, for the benefit of our AMN audience, why don't you walk us through your career and how did you ultimately end up as Director of KYB?
So I like to tell people I started right out of college in the aftermarket, and I worked for Edelman, which was owned by Parker Hannifin at the time out in Dixon, Illinois. And I started as a production and inventory controller, which when I accepted the job, I was a marketing guy. I wasn't sure what that actually was, but it worked out really good to start in a factory, learn from the ground floor up, and taught me a lot about the aftermarket. But as I was thinking about this as I'm saying it, I actually really started my aftermarket career when I was 15 in a car wash. And I learned some valuable lessons at the car wash. I was a little guy, so they'd have me go in the back seat, and I'd have to wash the back windows and the side windows. And back in my day, there was a lot of two doors, and getting in the back seat was not the easiest task. That's why they always do the little guys doing it. And I learned right away when a couple of guys came back because their back windows weren't clean, that if you don't give it enough juice and there's smoke in the car, you're just going to smear the smoke. So it gave me a lesson that you got to give everything enough juice, especially when you understand what it needs. And then another day I was there, and we used to get quarter tips. So I used to go home with a pocket full of quarters. And one rainy day, we were outside because no cars were coming in, and all the workers disappeared. I went and looked for them, and there they were playing craps. So they talked me into playing, and I quickly lost all my quarters and learned a valuable lesson of not to play a game unless you know what you're doing. So the car wash was very instrumental in my automotive aftermarket career for two key points.
Mike, especially for all the times you've been in Vegas while you've been in the aftermarket, good lesson to learn when you were 15 years old at the car wash.
Right. So I still stay away from dice today. Yes. So, but Edelman was a great opportunity for me. I learned a lot being in the factory. They promoted me out in the field, and that's how I started in the sales. And that was a great learning curve to learn jobbers and distributors. And then I got hired by Brake Parts Inc. at the time. Back then, it was just a small little company under the guidance of Larry Pavey. We just kept growing and growing, and so I was there for 17 years in various positions. I started in sales, went into product management, over to account executive, then into marketing and advertising, and then I went up to the vice president there. And it was a very exciting time in my career. Learned a lot of things. In advertising, I learned something also that was a kind of a funny learning curve with Babcock, is I kept reading the magazines every month and going, our marketing was Jenny Teo at the time from Maxim Marketing. We can't stop running these ads, just running them over and over. It's just like, you understand, those are different publications. Not everyone sees that same publication. You're about the only guy looking at all of them at the same time. So I then understood what your audience was, Bill, and I appreciate it much more today for that. But my tenure came to an end at Affinia. As the Vestas went from Eklund to Dana to Affinia. Things changed a lot, and it's time for me to go, and KYB was there. I wasn't sure about the position, and then Rusty Bishop from Federated was telling me they probably need somebody like me. So I went over to KYB, and at the time we were just taking in a big count, and so I was heading that up. And then after a while, our former Vice President Mike Howarth was going back to the UK, and so they asked me to take over, and I've been kind of doing that ever since. So it's been a very big thrill.
So, Mike, you have cited that being a mentor is something that's really important to you. Were there any mentors in your life that really helped you out? And at the same time, I'm sure there's some folks that you're helping and some things you're doing to elevate the next generation.
So I think it's very important. Mentorship has meant a lot to me. I was very fortunate. My dad was a great mentor to me on work ethic. He was an orphan that was very successful. Nothing, starting with nothing and doing very well for himself. And then, through my career, I've been lucky, from whether it was a shop foreman at Edelman named Ziggy Zanzinski, who, I thought, well, what am I going to learn from this guy? He seemed like he was still in the 50s, but he taught me a lot. And it was because he had knowledge that wasn't taught in books. It was taught, on the production floor. And, I was fortunate enough to work for Larry Pavey for a number of years, who taught me how to treat people and how to respect people. And then I was very fortunate to work for Steve Horn, who was passionate and taught me how important passion was. I worked for a gentleman named Charlie Westmoreland, who was very instrumental in helping me, guide me as I moved up in the ranks. And then John Passante is still a mentor today for me. He's a life mentor, and he's been really good to work with and to talk to, and he's always got something good to say, and I enjoy my time with him. So I've tried to share that. I've taken some of our younger people. We've been fortunate to find some really good young people, and we've been working on succession plans for a while at KYB. So we try to take these young people and spread them out and let them learn different avenues of the business, make sure they understand all the aspects. And as they do, we try to keep promoting them. And so currently we have a couple of people right now that I'm training to take over from me, which is the next step. And so with that, I think it's very important for everybody as we age and understand things better to work with the younger crowd and make sure they're up to speed and understand some history. So sometimes I feel like a historian, but sometimes that history adds a lot of value to what's going on and why you're doing a certain thing or not.
So, Mike, ride control is a competitive market, right? How does KYB
Yes.
How does KYB differentiate itself in the marketplace?
So for us, it's really two things. It's our products and our team. Our products have defined purpose, and these results are normally recognized right away by when someone puts it onto the vehicle. So we don't offer a good, better, best. KYB only offers the correct products. So that's our tagline now. Our products are engineered for specific vehicles. And so, one of our slogans is all you need to sell KYB are three words: restore or more. And do you want to restore your vehicle back to its original riding condition, or do you want additional handling and control? So if you're adding tires or towing something, or have a lot more weight in the vehicle than originally designed for, you need to upgrade your ride control. And that's where we stand out. We've done a lot of different tests, and if you've got a car and tried a bunch of different vehicle shock or different makers' shocks, you'll definitely see the difference in KYB. And that's what makes our brand. We've done some independent testing. There's a video out there called KYB Performance Test that kind of shows what I'm talking about. Stopping distance, control in wet environments are very important. The shocks are all about keeping the tire on the road, and KYB does a great job of that. We also do a great job on supporting the industry. So one of the things we just said about this competitive category, it's also a category that's not understood. Most motorists don't think they need shocks or struts because they wear so gradually. So our task has been to train and help the shop owners, service writers, the techs, even consumers understand what a shock does, how it wears, and why they should be replaced. We do a lot of in-person training. We do a lot of virtual training. We try to do everything we can to reach out so people understand what worn shock symptoms are and how they can be improved, and what kind of shocks did you need for your driving. So again, it's a very challenging category that most motorists don't even understand. But when they do understand, they become a great advocate. And we have another video out there called "This Is Why We Do It" that took some average consumers and brought them in to their current vehicle, and we put KYB on, and their reactions were priceless. That's why this video is one of my favorite, because again, these are not paid actors. These are just people who we took ad lib and had to cut out a few swear words that here or there in their presentation, but otherwise they did a fantastic job of explaining in consumer language what exactly the differences were, and from a new perspective to what they had on the vehicle before. So I think that's what separates KYB, and we try to continue doing that. That's our whole thing's about the performance, and when you put KYBs on, there's a difference.
Mike, KYB cites sustainability as being an important facet of the brand. Can you share with our AMN audience some and highlight the ways the company is conscious of this and how you execute on it?
So this is a big corporate initiative. I mean, it's highlighted every month in our global newsletter out of Japan. It's a strategy that we think is important, for everyone. We've earlier this year through AMN announced this new lubricant called Sustainalube that aims to eliminate the type of petroleum oil base that's in shocks today. This Sustainalube is a product that's made from natural materials. It's carbon neutral and recyclable. And so once it's implemented, it will replace for KYB over 16 million liters of petroleum-based product. And we feel that's one of the steps we're taking. Locally, KYB Americas has joined the U.S. Department of Energy's Better Climate Challenge. This initiative is to reduce carbon emissions by 50% by 2030, and we're already on our way to doing that. Matter of fact, our Franklin, Indiana plant received an award, was recognized for reducing wastewater discharge by over 40%. And as quick examples, we just changed our lighting in our distribution center in our office to save 50% or greater than 50% energy, and also gives better clarity just by changing the lights. So everything we do, we look at what the sustainable options are and try to take that where we can.
Mike, on the KYB website, it shows educational opportunities for both the consumer as well as the professional technician. So 2 questions. Why do you consider the educational component so important? And do you consider KYB a B2B company or a B2C company?
So first, I'll address, we are a B2B company. All our transactions, we sell nothing to consumers, but we feel the importance, as I mentioned earlier, of being an educator for the consumers. So we transact also as a B2C from an information standpoint. As I mentioned, many motorists don't understand what ride control components do. So we feel compelled to try to make that known and help them better understand why they replace shocks and struts and how it helps the safety of their vehicle and can keep their family out of danger when needed. So then you ask about the importance of education, and I think that's it. It's about safety for us. It's about having an informed buyer. When we talk to the kids just out of school for automotive school, they teach them how to replace stuff, but not why all the time. And the big thing with shocks and struts is why. Over 80% of the vehicles still go to the junkyard with their original shocks and struts. And it's a danger to people unless you replace them when they're worn. You can't stop as fast. You can't control the vehicle. You can flip over easier. So all those factors are something that we want to make sure not only the consumers, but the service writers, the technicians, the shop owners, that everybody's aware of that so that they can better inform one another and be informed themselves.
So Mike, before we let you go, it's a tradition on AMN Drive Time to do something we call the lightning round. And I'm going to ask you a few questions. You're going to give me a quick answer, okay?
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Tennis, golf, boating, or hunting? What do you prefer?
Golf. 'Cause I can still play that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I live in Arizona, so there's enough courses to choose from. You never get bored.
Do you prefer a day by the pool or a day at the beach?
I like the beach. I like the ocean, or even I grew up on Lake Michigan. The big body of water and all it provides is always fun to just sit out and think of the possibilities when you lay on the beach and look at that massive body of water in front of you.
Are you a DIY or a DIFM guy?
More DIFM. My story behind that is I had a car that broke down. Of course, it was like 5 o'clock on a Friday in Gary, Indiana. And I opened the hood, and this goes back a while, but with everything being controlled, I didn't even know what to do. I couldn't even see the battery cables. I couldn't open anything, so that's when I became a DIFM, and I leave it to professionals to handle my needs.
Do you prefer being a mentor or being a mentee?
That's a tough question. I like being a mentor. I think it's very fun, but it's fun learning. So I would have to say a mentee is even more applicable and more appreciative of me, because then it helps you learn more. And I learn something every day, and so the more I can learn, the better I feel.
A car ride, a plane ride, or a train ride? What would you do?
Oh, car ride for sure. I like being in control. Yeah, so
automatic or stick shift?
Automatic. As they used to do this old things about I'm man enough to let my transmission shift itself.
Mike, it's great to have you on AMN Drive Time, sponsored by our friends at Eishen.
Well, thank you for having me, and I appreciate your time today, Bill. Thank you.
AMN Drive Time is sponsored by Eishen, your trusted and reliable source for aftermarket automotive components and technology. Visit eishenaftermarket.com for more information.